I'm King Lok Wang, and I'm here to present you Musée du Louvre. The Louvre is the first of the world's 4 museums. It covers a total of 1,908,000 square meters. Philip Augustus built the Louvre as a fortress that stores jewelry and documents in 1204. Francis I made it into a royal residence palace hosting art that he bought from commissioners and collectors in 1546. However, it's no longer a royal residence after Louis XIV moved the royal family to the Palace of Versailles in 1682, and it's been officially made into a museum by the National Assembly in France in 1793. Here I present the Galerie d'Apollo, which translates to the Gallery of Apollo. Louis XIV became king in 1661, and he decided to create his own gallery. He attributed himself the role of the sun god Apollo, so his gallery was built entirely with metal and gilded with gold. However, Louis XIV was forced to leave Paris because he moved Versailles. He moved the royal residence to Versailles. That the gallery has to be completed 200 years later in 1850 by Eugene Delacroix. The gallery also contains over 800 pieces of jewelry. Note that the Renaissance period was from the 1400s to the 1700s. This piece of artwork is one of the late Renaissance paintings. It's called Apollo Slaying Serpent Python. It has a comparatively more realistic background with darker clouds, and this contrast emphasizes the existence of Apollo. Although there's not a really clear horizon line here, if you connect the diagonals, you see the vanishing point lands in also Apollo and the tip of his arrow here. If you extend this arrow, you can see a wound here, and this also shows the great attention to detail. Some mythology and a reference to classics. Serpent Python is the son of the earth goddess Gaia, so he inherited her powers and made the serpent very destructive, and it's hard to fight for Apollo, I guess. We can see that we can see some perspectives here. We have people piling over each other. We can see shading, that there's not a consistent light source. And we can also see that the humans are in relatively similar size. They did not make Apollo much larger simply because of his importance. The second painting, commonly referred as, sculpture, commonly referred as Diana de Versailles, basically translates to Artemis the Huntress. It's 200 centimeters high, 139 centimeters wide, and 103 centimeters thick. The sculptor is Barthélemy Prieur in 1602. It's been originally commissioned by Chateau des Tuileries, also created in the late Renaissance. Arrived in the museum in 1792 and redone by Lange in 1808. We can see that this sculpture is one of the classical Renaissance art pieces that we know Renaissance people consider the golden ratio as the most beautiful body proportions that a human can have. So top to the belly button to belly button to the feet ratio is 0.618 to 1, or more exact, root 5 minus 1 divided by 2. And this ratio has been exhibited here because we can see that the goddess has really long legs. And an appreciation of muscles and the human body also motivated the sculptor to create very strong muscles and on the arm and on the leg to support the goddess for shooting the bow. We can also see perspective shown in her robes, and we can see great attention to detail and great observation on the goddess's facial expression and how her hand is holding the antenna of the doe. Last painting, Le Christ en Croix entre Sainte Madeleine, La Vierge, Sainte Jeanne et Sainte Bernardo degli Uberti. This painting, the actual creation date is unknown. We only know that it's been created between 1400 and 1500s. The artist is Andrea di Gusto. It is 121 centimeters tall and 79 centimeters wide. It's created on background on wood, and the abstract background is painted with gold. Originally owned by Stat, later purchased by Henry IV. It's been placed in the Napoleon Museum in Paris in 1862, and it's been retrieved in 1976. It portrays Jesus on a crucifix with Saint Mary, John, Sean, and Bernardo. So this is Mary, this is John, this is Sean, and this is Bernardo. Although the background of the painting is in gold, we can see clear representation of perspective on the robes, shades. We can see there's not a consistent light source. You can see shading on the right side, and not significant size differences. Jesus is not magnified because he is very important. And although it's been pretty real, they draw halos above people's heads, which is probably not as realistic. From the wrinkles of the clothes and here, from the nails over Jesus' hand, we can see foreshortening. In other words, closer items are larger than the far items. Compared to the later Renaissance arts, the facial expressions are not as three-dimensional, but the rough proportions of the organs are fairly correct, and they have rather tranquil facial expressions. All of this points towards early Renaissance art, and yeah, basically that's it. Visitor information, it's open every day from 9 to 6, except for Fridays, 3 hour and 45-minute extension, and it's closed on Tuesdays. The significant feature is the Tuileries Garden that is made from a royal residence to a public park. And that's it.